Super Meat Boy is a game where you die a lot. 16,407 times from my personal experience, so it makes sense that the game's hardest achievement is something that'll really test your will to live by the end. But what if I told you that I mean this literally, and that this achievement requires you to get that number all the way down to 0? Ladies and gentlemen, this is where the Meat Boys become the Meat Men.
What?
This is the suffering you'll experience when going for 12 of Super Meat Boy's achievements, each of which requiring you to beat all 20 levels of a particular world without dying whatsoever. And when you have to go through almost 60 hours of attempting platforming like this, and also this, crashing out honestly becomes second nature. It also just so happens that almost all the people that have done this before are PlayStation players. So to show that Xbox is filled with even dumber masochists, I'll be adding my own handicap to the challenge. I want to do this without making use of save and quit, which means that if I know I'm about to die, there's no going back to the map to preserve my run. Instead, I'll have to eat the death and start right back at the beginning. But all this talk doesn't mean anything if I can't actually get the achievements. So, with all that being said, I think it's time to beat some meat. Super Meat Boy begins in the forest, and it's during the first few levels of this world where we learn basically everything Meat Boy is capable of. That's because this game, quite literally, has 3 buttons. You can move using the left stick, sprint with the right trigger, and jump with the A button, which unfortunately already seem to be one too many things to keep track of for my singular brain cell. That was a mulligan. Just because the movement is simple, though, doesn't mean that it's easy. As you progress through the game, the situations where you can sprint or not become less obvious, the timings of actions come down to milliseconds, and the wall jumps somehow become more complex than the mind of a couple that decides to sign up for Temptation Island. But while mastering the movement itself is important, it's really only half the battle. The other half, of course, are the obstacles.
What are the squirrels doing? They should try and not run into the saw blades. It's really simple. It's really...
Moving on. The forest contains pretty much everything you could want in a world so long as you're a vegan that despises the sight of meat. To give you a quick tour, there are some of our most finely sharpened spikes, drops that'll send you straight to the darkest pits of hell, which we'll get to later, actually, and saws that were seemingly bought during a buy one get 72 sale. But this world also introduces a bunch of other diverse traps too, such as moving saws, rotating saws, shooting saws, Make-A-Wish, and destructible platforms that crumble just as badly as I did when I had to talk to women in middle school. And so, with all these things stacked against us, this was honestly still pretty easy. I mean, it is still the first world, you know what I mean? And despite all the dangers, I managed to go through the entire thing, start to finish, in one...
All right, we focus up. I know, I'm sorry.
2 tries, with both my attempts combined resulting in a total time of 8 minutes and 42 seconds.
1 down. Oh, thank goodness. Oh man, could you imagine if we died at all during that run, which we definitely didn't do? Man, that would have been embarrassing. That was hella easy.
That was now 1 out of the 12 permadeath achievements already done. So to follow up on that, the next step in this process, logically, would be to go to the second easiest world in the game and then start going through them in slowly ascending order, right? Well, yeah, that totally makes sense. But that's not what I did. It was around this time that I really started feeling myself, and instead of moving on to the hospital like most people would, I decided to take on the Forest Dark World, which basically takes all the Light World levels and remixes them to be even more annoying. That being said, I didn't think this was a bad decision at the time though. In my head, I thought that if I just came off blazing through the forest like,
Hell version of the forest? Yeah, I mean, this is Smokey the Bear's nightmare realm, actually.
it would be better to take on a slightly changed world that I already knew rather than a bunch of new worlds where I'd eventually have to come back to this one anyway after forgetting everything about it. But it soon became apparent that there were 2 things that weren't accounted for in this master plan of mine. One is that if I had to compare these new levels to plastic surgery, instead of getting a slight touch up in the remixing process, these levels got a nightmarish full Monty. And secondly was that the step up in difficulty from the normal forest to the dark forest was way bigger than I could have ever expected.
What? Okay, let's not land right in the saw this time. All right, cool, got it.
I died here a lot, unsurprisingly, and I'd at least like to point out that some of these were not my fault.
Ow!
You find out pretty quickly while playing through this that the difficulty of the Dark Forest is basically on par with the hardest light worlds. So just winging it like I did earlier wasn't gonna cut it, and this was especially apparent when I got to the later levels. Mission 15 was the first time I actually had to pay attention to the timings of my jumps. Mission 17 was where I had to develop a rhythm for my muscle memory as well as a motto to keep everyone's morale up.
So that's these 3 done. Let's do the clock. But we're taking the L out of the clock, chat, because we don't lose. No, I got. I suck so bad.
Mission 20 was where I really had to understand and master how the destructible blocks worked, and Mission 18 is literally just a declaration of war against people with astigmatism.
This is awful. Who designed this?
On these levels, I would usually die multiple times before beating them once, which for a permadeath run is not very good. And even when I was able to consistently beat a level, my confidence never actually went up that much.
So right now, okay, so what's gonna be the problem children of this world? So it seems like 15's pretty bad. Everything else is kind of doable though at the moment. All right, shut the fuck up.
All my permadeath runs were starting to turn into perma-dying runs. So I had to change some things up if I wanted any chance at beating not only this world, but the other 10, where most of them had levels that were significantly harder than this one. This, however, is where things would start to shift for the better though, because thankfully the game does give you just enough wiggle room to make those adaptations happen.
It seems very kid level to me. It's just, I can't remember what to do, but it's just smells like the kid. Smells like the kid is probably not the best way to phrase that, but you all know what I mean.
There are 2 things other than, you know, getting good that can actually help alleviate any skill issues you may be having. The first of these is changing characters. Meat Boy is only one of the many people you can play as in this game, each with their own special abilities too, like gliding, sticking to walls, turning back time in a way that slowly degrades the space-time continuum and causes every action you take in your life to no longer matter, ruining your perception of failure as a learning experience, which in turn prevents you from growing as a person, keeping you stuck in a perpetual loop of mediocrity and false happiness until you die unfulfilled and alone, with your final breath being a whimper about how things could have been like if everything played out the way it was meant to. Oh, and you can also play as the type of miner that doesn't get Minecraft YouTubers in trouble. But the character that will likely have the biggest impact on your playthrough is the kid. The reason being that his double jump ability is stupidly helpful in almost every single level. Didn't hold jump long enough? Well then, just jump again. Is a platform too high for Meat Boy to reach? Might not be for this guy. Wanna get a get out of jail free card when you overshoot a jump? Well, you can, but you're asking the wrong guy to show it to you.
I forgot about this level. Hold on. Idea. We cheat. Perfect. Joined your stream the first time. I got an Amber Alert. Should I be worried? Well, I have killed multiple kids in this video game. So that might have been the reason, if we're being honest.
So I started making use of the kid and a few other characters in the game to deal with the levels that I couldn't get consistent with Meat Boy. But sometimes I wasn't able to beat these levels super consistently with them either, which leads into the second thing that's nice about these achievements. You can start a permadeath run on any level in any order you like, meaning that if you keep dying and need practice on level 18, because I sure did,
Yeah, that's okay.
you can make that one of the levels you start with, and so long as you do the other 19 in whatever order you want without dying, the permadeath run is counted as complete. It basically made it so that whenever I died, I'd get to freely practice the missions I was struggling with until I could get them all in a row. And at that point, I was now 5 or 6 levels into my run with the hardest ones already behind me.
You feel a lot less stressed on the levels that you practiced, actually. Wow, who would have fucking thought Snamwiches, right?
Even with practice though, no run ever seems to go perfectly. There's usually gonna be some jank, no matter what the Chip Skylark level gaslights you into believing. But with newfound skill,
Ooh, that was a little too close for comfort, but we're getting there.
some slight adaptations,
Oh, we're pulling them back. We're pulling them back. We're messing up, but all that matters is that we recover okay.
a bit of luck,
There we go. That's what I'm looking for. This is bad. Wait, am I okay? Hold on. Hold the line. He lives. He's okay. All part of the plan.
and of course some encouragement to keep on pushing through.
So Maurice, your streams have shown me that it's okay to fail in front of other people. I don't have to be perfect. Thanks for being a failure, Snam. No problem, dog. Happy to help.
It was finally time to put this world to rest.
Oh my god, I'm so nervous. We win these, dude! That's 2 worlds done. 10 to go, and they're all gonna be harder. Whoopee.
The Dark Forest was very unkind to me, but it did lay the groundwork for how to approach everything in the future, be it strategy, mechanics, journaling my frustrations, and so on. All in all, the successful run took just over 6 minutes to complete, but the Dark Forest in total took me 1 hour, 39 minutes, and 44 seconds. Over 10 times the amount it took for the normal forest. But as I progressed through the rest of the worlds in this game, what I soon would find out is that this was nothing compared to how hard this game could end up being. Except that all happens later, because the next few missions are actually pretty nice. But you know what else is nice? Video games, anime, and shiny objects. And if you happen to be a fan of all 3 of these things, then boy, do I have the game for you. This video is sponsored by Crystal of Atlan, a Magic Punk-inspired MMO ARPG with cross-platform play, a fluid combo-based combat system, and aesthetics. If you're a fan of action games, this honestly might be the MMO for you. Crystal of Atlan is built around seamlessly blending together your spellcast and movement for buttery smooth combos. And that's not to mention its emphasis on using the Z-axis as well, allowing for in-depth aerial combat as you fight through every encounter. So, as you can see from this nifty chart I made, you can basically kick the enemy's teeth in from every direction. Along with that, Crystal of Atlan also has multiple different classes to suit your playstyle, all available from the get-go. These include the Gunner, which is a branch in the Musketeer class that uses guns to zone the enemies, or the Berserker, who's a swordsman that does higher damage the lower their HP. There's plenty of room to experiment considering the over 20 skill combinations that come with each, which is info you can share with friends as you explore the land of Atlan together. So if you like combos, co-op dungeons, solo play, PvP, PvE, and most importantly, pets, then make sure to pre-register for Crystal of Atlan by using the links down below before its global release on May 28th for PC, PlayStation, and mobile, which can get you access to exclusive rewards and early access. So I'd like to once again thank Crystal of Atlan for sponsoring this video, and now back to rapidly dying in Meat Boy. Following the mess that was the Dark Forest, the next stop on our Pain and Misery World tour is the hospital, aka the place Meat Boy was gonna go once these obstacles got finished dissecting him.
I know exactly what I'm doing. Jesus Christ.
Alongside the assortment of stuff from both versions of the forest, the hospital adds in its own extra bullshit as well, just like a real American medical bill. Now, there are lasers everywhere that instantly turn you into Swiss meats, and there are enemies all over the place, such as the sludge guys that look like they just emerged from the 6th layer of the abyss, and a bunch of purple people.
I think purple things equal bad? Listen, you can't just associate a color with something being bad, okay? We fought to abolish that.
Now, these obstacles were pretty manageable for the most part, but by far the worst thing they introduced in this world are the fans. You see, fans of this channel are handsome, smart, talented, generous with the like and subscription buttons, whereas the fans in Super Meat Boy are ugly, stupid, kill children, and blow, both figuratively and literally. So it was a bit of a culture shock to me personally. It feels like you never get the same force or angle on the same fan twice, no matter the amount of prep you might try to do to get it consistent. And this usually resulted in a bunch of dumb deaths that were either a result of the fans themselves or the fact that I never got around to the other levels because I was stuck practicing them.
I feel like I just do this, right? I forgot there was spikes at the bottom there. I think Snam might be on copium every day, brother.
As a result, I checked out of the hospital in 56 minutes and 22 seconds. Definitely harder than the Light Forest, but on the bright side, only resulted in a 7-figure medical debt, which is a steal in this economy. And my experience with the Salt Factory, oh wait, I didn't do the thing. And my experience with the Salt Factory was pretty similar. For the most part, things weren't that bad. There was initially some new stuff like moving platforms and such, but then I got to the conveyor belts and everything started to become OSHA's worst nightmare. Specifically, in Mission 6 and 7, you have to peel off the vertical belt at just the right time before landing meat first in a pile of salt, which isn't the worst thing ever if you build up the muscle memory, but is the worst thing ever if you have muscle dementia.
Meat Boy, huh? Yeah, Alexa, it is a rough one, especially since we're trying to do every world permadeath. And this one is not going great, even though it's supposed to be like the 3rd easiest. God damn it. It's like so, there's an example. I am a visual storyteller. But for whatever reason, the new obstacle that really got me immersed into this world were the missiles, because these were the things that actually turned me into a salt factory. Why is this like my actual Achilles heel? It really should not be that bad. Back to 6. It's okay, we'll get it this time. This is even worse.
I think this is an issue pretty unique to me since I haven't really seen anyone else complain about them much, but 80% of the time, things would be fine and they'd behave like normal, and then during the other 20%, they would decide, you know what? Fuck this guy.
No! The stupid missile it threw me off.
And unsurprisingly, this resulted in a lot of runs never getting off the ground.
Oh. I literally could not have gone any worse. I overshot that jump so bad. Whoa, I didn't die there, did I? All right. What is happening?
Also, unsurprisingly, this world ended up taking a bit longer because of it. The final time here was 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 9 seconds, which was inching closer, but not quite at the level of the Dark Forest yet.
Thank fucking God. Why was that so hard? That should not have been that bad.
But all that was about to change, because now all the gimmies were behind us, and we were about to enter a world that was literal. I think hell marks the first time I couldn't permadeath a world in one sitting, for good reason. The timings are tighter, the actions per minute start speeding up, and it introduces the Boruses, which are like missiles, but worse.
Okay, that's not great.
Honestly, it felt like every new obstacle was a pain to deal with. The portals were jank.
No! Why would you go back in? Fuck!
The new lasers were a lot more than meets the eye.
Oh, and now we get the eyeball lasers. Perfect. That's definitely gonna be very fun, he says sarcastically. Nice. All right, yep, should have seen that one coming. Get it, because of the eye? Never mind.
And even the normal obstacles found ways to be even more deadly than usual.
Oh, barely made it. We take those, though. Barely making it, and making it, chat, is still making it. Okay. And getting hit by a fireball and getting hit by a fireball also means getting hit by a fireball. The more you know, right? Lessons with Snamwiches.
I can't even say there were any levels that particularly stood out that much either. This world was just consistently challenging for the level of mastery we have at this point. Sure, it didn't have some of the peaks that the Dark Forest did, but it actually made it all the more heartbreaking, as it caused most runs to go 10 or 15 missions deep pretty often, only for them to completely implode just as frequently.
Damn it. I can't beat this level. Okay, we're back. Oh my God. Why is it always perfectly placed? It's going in like only a couple directions. Why is it always in me? Okay, mental reset. I'm feeling it. This is it. I'm actually so confident. Everyone bet believe right now. Okay, after that.
But all this is doable. The levels just need practice, the fingers need to be warmed up, and so on. However, there was one more unintentional threat still looming in the background. One that would prolong not only this world's permadeath, but some of the ones where a single mistake could ruin the only good run of the entire day. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to 59 FPS gaming.
What? What happens?
Allow me to explain this to you as it was explained to me. Super Meat Boy is a game with behavior that heavily relies on its frames per second. It's like the polar opposite of an Asian tiger mom in how demanding it is. So normally, it runs at a steady 60 frames per second on Xbox with no issues. However, if the game has been running for long enough, the FPS starts to fluctuate just a little bit in either direction. And even though nothing really changes for the most part, the result of that very tiny level of inconsistency can have drastic consequences like this.
What happened to good old Snamwiches when he was on a very good pace permadeath run where if he beat this one, he would be practically GG'd? Let's see. Let's all find out. Good jump. And nice. Yes. Perfect. Of course, it had to have been. What was it? Let's see. Let's slow it down. It's 0.25 speed. Let's go frame by frame here. Nice. Nice. Ooh, it looks like he's gonna land on here. Oh, never mind. Cool. Ran on fall damage.
Now, fixing this bug is no problem. If you close the game and reopen it, everything will reset and basically fix itself. But the real core of this issue is that you never know when it's gonna happen. A standard jump in most runs could suddenly turn into instant death 5, 10, or even 19 levels into a run without any warning. And it's not like you can take precautions during the level either, because some of these actions are necessary to actually complete the mission. Thankfully, it only seems seems to affect certain parts of a handful of certain levels, but over the course of 2 hours, this usually happened 3 times, which might not sound like much, but when it caused me to lose a 17 mission run for no reason other than bad luck later on, I'm not ashamed to say that I was starting to slowly care less and less about how much a new monitor would cost. Speaking of runs dying, by the way, like I mentioned before, I had a lot of permadeath attempts die very late into this world, specifically on mission 4 for some reason.
I will not lie, we are indeed gaming. What? Wait, why didn't I bounced off of the side? That's so stupid.
But after coming back to this world the next day, things finally started coming together. I got the possible bad FPS levels done early, breezed through the ones in the middle, and managed to not choke the easy ones for once, resulting in a final time of 2 hours, 25 minutes, and 56 seconds.
That's a W, gamers.
Let's go!
Huge, dude. That took like, oh my God, that barely took any time at all.
And with that complete, we now enter... The Rapture is pretty similar to Hell in terms of overall difficulty, but they couldn't be more different in every other aspect. Because while almost all the levels in Hell were pretty evenly matched, the Rapture has levels that feel like Child's Play and some that make you feel like you're in Child's Play. Specifically the part where you're murdered by a deranged little shithead.
All right, now, let's pay attention. Yeah, let's do the whole, like, actually... All right, didn't help. Never mind. Just kidding. Paying attention is just, fuck me.
We also have now arrived at the part of the journey where some of these levels start giving me legitimate war flashbacks. Mission 7 is a prime example of how not being able to save and quit can drastically extend the time a world takes to permadeath. For this level, you have to grab a key, which opens the path to a second key, where the second key then opens the way to Bandage Girl. The problem here is that if you miss the second key as it's falling, it drops off screen through the 7 circles of hell and into a Meat Boy recreation of the Sarlacc pit from Star Wars, making it impossible to get it on the same attempt. Now, if I was able to return to the map and grab it on the second try, technically I wouldn't have died and can continue my run. But because of the rule I placed on myself, every time this happened, I had to make like Boba Fett and dive right into that Sarlussi for a devastating reset.
Have we gotten good yet? I mean, you know, good is like, define good, you know? Because, listen, if we compare me to a newborn child who can't hold a controller correctly, who we're obviously normally comparing me to, then I feel like I'm doing pretty great. If we're comparing myself to like a competent adult human male, though, I mean, you know, it's a little debatable, right? But serviceable, maybe. Okay, never mind, just kidding.
Then there was Mission 15. This was the level I started with every time without fail. Reason being that you have to do a bunch of precise jumps very fast thanks to Death Metal's favorite worm really putting an exclamation point on the whole death part, even when there were no more actual hard jumps to speak of.
Oh, no! All right, well, that's stupid. At least I'm getting practice with 15, am I right? Just gotta look at the positives, because there really aren't that many like that. Okay, cool.
These were the 2 levels that probably caused me the most amount of resets overall. But don't worry, we're not done yet. There are also some very specific parts of other missions that I'd like to call out and shame. The Saw Shooter in Mission 19 that permalocks onto you and has Elden Ring level delay. The Gravity Orbs in Mission 18 that reaffirmed my straightness by showing me I hate playing with balls other than my own. And, of course, the stupid fucking missiles again. I would like to go on record saying I hate you all and hope you die in a fire. Thank you. So for the next 2 or so hours, I was rotating between the same 6 or 7 levels with no end in sight. If I could just do them, then the rest of the world was really easy.
3, I remember I can just run instead of be an idiot, ideally.
In theory.
That's not good.
But I was never able to string them all together at once, no matter the characters or the order I chose to try and make that happen.
Ay. That's okay. We're not going for a speed run. We're going for a permadeath run. All right, doesn't matter. Fuck me. I just died slower.
But that statement about dying slower right there, that was the wisest thing I'd said all day. Being cautious in this game is usually a death sentence that only causes you to overthink things and mess up. The actual best way to play is finding a path in the level you can replicate most of the time and then getting enough muscle memory where you can subconsciously repeat it. It doesn't necessarily mean going fast either. My strategy for 15, for example, involved me holding sprint until until I got to the triple clumps, where I'd then pause, reset my grip, and mentally map out the timings to get through them. This way of playing eventually led me to getting out of my 7-level purgatory, where I then proceeded to choke on the second last mission.
Fuck! I kept trying to like inch off and I fucking choked it. God damn it.
But at that point, I had enough practice on this world to do it again soon after. And the final light world of the main game was complete in 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 16 seconds.
Imagine I fuck up the easiest level of them all. That'd be crazy, actually. What an epic choke that would be. But it's not today! Let's go! Oh, big. Absolutely huge. Holy shit.
So, with the Rapture now finished, it was finally time to attempt another Dark World. But attempting the Dark Hospital was something I'd been dreading ever since the Dark Forest. After playing through it again to refresh myself, I was certain that this would be like going from Scrubs to the pits in terms of how stressed out I'd feel. And let me tell you, I have never been happier to be wrong. I actually figured this out faster than the light world.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. There has to be like some sort of strategy with like being blown, you know? Like maybe I got to account for the teeth?
Welcome to the Weenie Hut General of Dark Worlds. Now, to be fair, if I had played this world right after the light version, I may have had a way worse time with it. However, that was not the case, and I soon found out that the black market drug dealers, cartel members, and gangsters have it a lot better than I thought when it comes to medical care, because the mortality rate in here was way lower than it was before. Isn't that right, Carlos from Saints Row 2? Bad example. But seriously, none of the levels felt that much more difficult than what I'd just been through. Sure, I was sometimes overconfident and tried doing the levels too fast.
What? How? How is that even possible?
And sure, I was sometimes still overconfident and started reading messages while playing.
Stream's going for 4 hours now, and I'm gonna fucking beat this bad boy. It'll go on for as long as it needs to. We're getting this shit.
You know, maybe this was a bigger issue than I thought.
Can't wait for the comp of Sam being incredibly confident and immediately dying. I feel like that would last too long. That's like basically the entire stream.
But that didn't matter whatsoever, because in just 45 minutes and 54 seconds, I completed Dark Hospital for my second ever Dark World.
Let's go! Yes, that's another one! Let's go! Do 2 in a day! Holy shit, was not expecting that whatsoever.
Okay, let's do a quick mid-video recap, because as we all know, everyone loves a good mid-season recap episode. Right now, we have 7 out of 12 worlds permadeaths, with 3 dark worlds, 1 light world, and the hardest dark world left in the chamber. And I was feeling pretty good about it so far. Looking even deeper into it, I had permadeaths every single world in under 3 hours. Most of them sub 2, as well as had experience tackling and more importantly, succeeding against every type of obstacle the game could throw at me. So I was tentatively optimistic about my chances of finishing somewhat soon. Maybe there was even a chance I could get them done in around the same time it took me to do these ones if I really locked in too. But in the words of the legendary football player Apollos Hester, they had us in the first half, not gonna lie. This is the part of our journey where a sort of shift happens. A shift with a before and after transformation on a similar level to that of Pangea, breaking apart into the 7 continents, the strengths of empires and countries post-World War II, or the bank account of someone after they discover options trading for the first time. It's here that the worlds get obscenely more difficult, to the point where even doing 3 levels in a row was an ordeal in and of itself, and where I started to question whether or not this was something that I could actually do. But come on, Snamwiches, I know you're handsome and have really good taste, you may be saying completely verbatim, but are they really that bad? It would be pretty lame to hype this up so much if they barely took that much longer than the other worlds. And you're completely right. So then, let me be fully transparent. I streamed this entire process from beginning to end, and all 7 of the worlds that have permadeath thus far have been done in the span of 4 streams, or about 12 hours give or take for idling. To give you an idea of what that means in the grand scheme of things though, this is 1/7 of the footage I have for this game. So when I say things get worse, I might actually be underselling it. And all of this pain starts with... We have now reached the first world that tests if you're really built for this. No more simple obstacles or generous timing windows. It's you and your skill versus the hardest things the game can throw at you. And as we'll soon find out, most of the time, the game wins.
There we go. Not that bad. Okay. Never mind.
It is truly ridiculous. And to give you a better idea of what you're in for, here are the 3 levels I decided to start with for a majority of my time here. Mission 17 is another missile level where you have to ascend and descend some barriers, all the while dodging 2 missile turrets doing the exact same thing. But a question that I'm sure you're obviously thinking about right now is, what is the missile's favorite video game? Well, maybe it's Pong because of the movements of the turrets, or maybe it's Guitar Hero 3 because they enjoy being a slayer and can play Raining Blood whenever they want.
All right, well.
But I like to think that the actual answer to this is Tony Hawk, because there is absolutely no way they could do tricks like this without any sort of practice.
Okay, who designed that rocket? I want his name and address right now.
There's just enough room in the stage for the missiles to cause maximum chaos, and since every jump has a 99% chance of being slightly different, and the missiles have a 99% chance of being slightly silly, tons of attempts can be lost to pure bad luck. But there's also another level that has almost no consistency too. Mission 7 has you launch yourself with a conveyor belt that shoots you into a key, which then causes you to have to grab a second key out of midair, which is hit and mostly miss.
This is the one. Now that we've beaten the hardest level, everything else should just be piece of cake, surely. It was a good attempt. Back to the map.
This being another key level means that it's easy with save and quit, but miserable without it. Because when you finally get the first key grab after however many life milestones it takes you to do it, you also have to do the second one.
Okay, we're in it, gamers. Actually about to persevere. Rare 3-level double E. Okay.
But despite the literal belt to ass from the Mission 7 conveyor and suffering through all the trick shots from Optic Missile on any level of the turret really,
ah, yes, okay, it's slow, great. It's just like my brain.
there was something that these levels were missing. Sure, they were causing me mental torments, but I log on to Twitter every day, so I'm pretty used to it at this point. No, what these levels needed was an aspect of physical pain too. Perhaps something so bad that it made you have to stop playing for the day. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why I'd like to proudly introduce one of the game's 3 worst levels, Mission 18.
Oh, Jesus, the color difference is so painful.
This is one of the most immersive levels Meat Boy has to offer because it really makes you feel like you're getting pissed on in the eye. What you have to do is go across a floor of destructible blocks to get a key from the other side, and then make your way back as a bunch of saws fly at you in some predetermined pattern. It's not too bad once you understand it. In the meantime, however, this entire level looks like it didn't drink enough water and for some reason is taking it out on you. It may not come across immediately, but my eyes were gassed after looking at this for so long. Multiple hours of grinding the level did a number on them, and quite possibly funded my optometrist's trip to Paris, Texas. He likes to live frugally. But some of the attempts genuinely got so bad that I had to turn my monitor brightness down specifically for this level. Because if doing a first level in a permadeath run looks something like this,
oh my god. How do you do that consistently? There are so many deaths, I have to do this deathless.
then something had to change. Fast. But ideally not too fast where something like this happens instead.
Oh, survive for a little longer. No! Okay, so you don't want to do that. Step 1, that's a Snam pro gamer tip right there.
Low brightness makes it really hard to see the hole there. But lowering the brightness did actually make things a bit easier for me. I started to adjust to the colors and learn the saw patterns to where I could dodge them 70 to 80% of the time, making my constant level number 1 in this permadeath look a lot more like a level number 2 by the end of it. And my actual level number 2 and number 3 started to go up in consistency too. For 7, I learned that the kid had a few run-saving tricks that drastically increased my odds of success. Specifically, I was able to take advantage of his double jump to both stay in place during the first key drop, as well as completely skip the second one by double jumping after the conveyor launch and grabbing the key before it dropped at all, which worked most of the time.
Okay, yeah, the key level is not bad. Oh shit, wait, I kind of fucked up. Okay, I need to shut up.
Low brightness makes it really hard to see the key there. And then for the missile levels, I'm gonna be honest, I just hope for the best. I did have a few tricks that got me to the ends more often than not, surprisingly.
What? That did a kickflip, dude. God damn it. What? Top then bottom, top then bottom, top then bottom, top then bottom. I need to be a better switch, man. Ugh. all good.
But they were working in a hopefully non-placebo kind of way. And so, as a result of all this practice, adaptation, and eye strain, I was able to finally beat 3 levels of the Dark Salt Factory in a row in 3 hours. That's right. It took me 3 hours to finally string together 3 out of the 20 missions without dying. 3! That was longer than any of the other worlds in their entirety. And don't even get me started on finding a 4th mission in this rotation.
We've never lost with a 9 start, to be honest. Okay, well, we've never lost with an 8 start, to be honest. I think I have the wrong character. No, okay. I'm pretty sure we've lost with a 7 start, but you know what? It's always good to revisit the classics.
But after about 4.5 hours, things suddenly started to click. It turns out that Dark Salt Factory is another one of those worlds with a few really hard missions, and then the rest of them become pretty standard with practice. Other than 6. I hate 6 with a passion. But no more were the days of being stuck in a constant 3-level jail. I was starting to get 8-level runs, 10-level runs, until randomly one run broke any expectations anyone had and got to 18, 19, and all the way to the last level required for the permadeath. Now, 5 hours after starting, I was on the easiest level in the world. No longer getting tortured by lighting or missiles or goofballs, just me, a moving saw, and some pretty simple jumps. The worst world so far was finally coming to a close, and after 5 hours, 7 minutes, and 25 seconds, you bet your ass I was going to slow down and gloat.
Wait, we started with 17, right? There's the karma. I forgot it was gonna come back.
Could I blame the brightness on this one too? Yeah, so this is one of those deaths that might cause the local clown college to express ship a diploma to me. If I had moved literally 1 inch to the right over the course of 10 seconds, I would have been done and on to the next world. But because something possessed me to try and joke around at the end, it was like the tortoise and the hare all over again. Except even that comparison isn't accurate because there was no way I could be called the hare when I was losing mine doing this stupid permadeath again.
You know we can do it, so we'll just do it. It's as simple as that. Like, we're already way ahead of schedule in terms of like how good I am on the day. Oh, okay, never mind. I suck. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. Fuck!
But hey, if I was building up to long runs before this and able to get all the way to the 20th level, surely I could get here again pretty soon, right? Maybe 1 or 3 or possibly 5 more attempts seems pretty manageable, I think. It shouldn't be too bad. 2 hours. It took me 2 more hours to finally beat the permadeath. I don't even want to show the clip of me celebrating. I don't think I deserve it. But regardless, after 7 hours, 33 minutes, and 12 seconds, Dark Salt Factory was finally done for my 8th permadeath.
It has been 84 years. We started this part of Meat Boy right around the start of World War II.
And look where we are now. We got this still. God gives his dumbest battles to his silliest soldiers, chat, and I am one.
So with that, we move on to... Back when we did the light version of Hell, I mentioned that almost every level was ranked somewhere in the above average difficulty range. So imagine taking all those levels and making them more annoying to the point where they'd normally be the ones you'd want to do first in any other world. That's basically the Dark Hell experience.
Damn, we already have so many starter levels that it's not even at the halfway point to the fucking world yet. You want to start with every level? Got it? Shut up.
You could honestly rename this world to Hell's Kitchen with how much it was cooking me. There were so many missions with at least 1 or 2 things in them that caused me to die a lot, to the point where I had to get really nitpicky with how much I'd practice each of the levels, and swipe them into practice categories like I was grinding ranked Tinder. So let's see, the one that wants you to move a little too fast for your liking? That's a late run swipe. The one that is very hot, but hard to get to know on a deeper level? Well, okay, but I think it would work better as a practice-uationship. The one that for some reason is constantly trying to keep you on your toes. Beautiful eyes, but definitely a late swipe. Or how about the one that always makes you feel desirable and knows their way around a bone?
What is this? There are literally bones on the floor.
Super practice. That's first level material right there. But even after categorizing everything and getting good at the hardest levels, that apparently wasn't enough. The thing with a bunch of levels being this difficult is that you have to practice and build muscle memory for all of them. And if you try to do it for all of them, it starts to feel like you're not making progress in any of them. I was constantly losing runs really early by dedicating a lot of time to learning one level, and then after repeatedly dying and having to do the same with a bunch of others, all my feel for the first one that by all means should have been easy now usually disappeared completely.
Here we go. Nice! 3 in a row, 3 in a row, 3 in a row, 3 in a row, 3 in a row. Now we just die to the easy level, of course. This is how it normally works. Yep, that sounds about right.
And that, of course, made me have to restart the entire cycle all over again, with the same exact result happening every time.
18 maybe? I don't know, man. I don't really have any faith in any of these levels anymore, if I'm being real. But hey, I'll get... Come on, that's not even the hard part. Dude, that's so unlucky. All right. Okay, you know what? I think we're not even gonna get to 3, dude. My brain is torched.
So because of all the things I had to learn and maintain, Dark Hell took even longer than Dark Salt Factory did. And that's not to mention the fact that Meat Moses decided that today was the day he'd call down a plague of bugs on me.
What? Reverse crushed. It was literally getting bigger.
Between the challenging missions, random bullshit, and 59 FPS tilt sessions, there was just so much to account for here. Whether it be the crazy jump in 5, a missed key in 14, or a half-second difference in timing on the Boris in 19. And that ended up leading to an ungodly amount of chokes. More so than any other world thus far. There was an 18-level streak choke in hour 6.
God damn it, I should have practiced.
A 15-level streak that I lost in hour 7 thanks to genuine bad luck.
What? How?
And multiple 14+ level streaks ruined by hour 9 thanks to my nurse getting the better of me after every subsequent death.
God damn it. I mistimed it, I got nervous again. I had a feeling. Pretending that one didn't happen. It was on purpose. That was not on purpose. I'll have you know I'm actually an idiot. Thank you very much. I don't even pretend to be one. Honestly offensive to all the work I put into my craft.
By hour 10, I finally had enough practice on the harder half of the levels to beat them consistently, but now my brain was the one causing me to fail rather than my hands. I'd just get so nervous as I got farther into a run, and I'd lock up whenever I got to things that should have been guaranteed wins, completely whiffing on any obstacle that required me to act quickly, but that would have been really easy if I had done them earlier in the run without any pressure.
No, I got nervous. Oh, I thought I was gonna hit the saw and I thought I could turn back in time. That didn't work. Unfortunate.
So after yet another attempt lost to exactly that, it made me stop and think for a bit. And then I came up with an idea. Why not start putting all the levels with the highest chokeability first, rather than the actual hardest ones? Sure, it would mean that some of the more difficult levels would be moved to the middle, but in this instance, I thought that was preferable. Because right now, I felt like I was one man versus the gaming equivalent of a silverback gorilla. And I know a decade ago, a child was able to beat a gorilla, but that's not fair because it had help from the refs. And thankfully, I knew that if I could just make it to level 6 and level 9, nice, that I would have this in the bag.
Nice. All right, 4, 5, 8, 20, 19. I think we're gonna risk some biscuits and skip 15. Even though that's probably a horrible idea. We'll go straight to 14. I'm okay. Cool, calm, and collected. What I'm known for. Can I say? I'll never. How am I alive? I didn't jump. Dude, I was so defeated. I like almost dropped my controller. I'm just like, darn, I died again. Okay, just have level 6. Let's go! We fucking did it! It took forever, but we done it! Gotta do 11? Oh, we do have to do 11. Hold on, 1 second. Hold on. We forgot 11. 1 second. This would be an epic choke. It would be very funny. Should I just do it? Now we're good. Let's go! We fucking did it! It may have taken 3 months, and it only took 3 months because we played weekly and then monthly. But who would have thought that not spending a week in between attempts, but instead 2 days would help us out of the gulag? God bless America. God bless the number 11. Never had any doubt. Now the rest of the game. Yeah. Woo! I'm so excited.
In total, Dark Hell was an absolute beefer of a world, ending with a time of 11 hours, 11 minutes, and 7 seconds. Can you believe it gets worse? I sure can, because next up we have... Dark Rapture is a genuinely evil world, indescribably so. So for the first time this video, we are going to go through every single level that this world has to offer, because it seriously is that bad. Mission 1 is a gauntlet of tough jumps that take over a minute to complete, capped off with a wall bounce that I could only get past around 40% of the time. To reiterate, this is Mission 1. If I wanted to beat this level somewhat consistently, instead of completing everything the normal way, I had to do a unique trick to this level called a super bounce. How it works is that you use the kid's double jump to build momentum on a wall, hit the wall at the very corner so you don't lose any speed, and then double jump again to barely hit the height needed to reach Bandage Girl. And on average, this usually took me 6 minutes to do correctly.
Gonna be here for a while. I gotta relearn how to do this. Damn, fuck, how did I do this? I don't remember. Oh, I had it. I didn't realize I had it. I was so skeptical. You're cooked? Nuh-uh. Hold on, check that. We're getting there. We're getting there. Nice. There we go. We did it. What are the levels I did again? I've already forgotten. It's been so long.
To reiterate, this is Mission 1. It's after this, though, that we go on a run of missions that are hard, but fortunately not as hard as what comes after. Mission 2 primarily comes down to whether or not you can get from this gravity ball into a small hole. Mission 3 is another long level that feels like 9 months or so in Meat Boy time. And Mission 4 has you pop right out of the chamber after a lot of pain and difficulty. So in just 3 levels time, Super Meat Boy has taught us what it's like to give birth. Then there were missions 5 and 6. Nothing too crazy here. All you have to do is go fast, and you can even skip large parts of 6 by using the kid's double jump. So, of course, this is where I'd choke most of my runs on the front 10.
EV is now 9, Pog. I kind of want to get to 10 so I feel good about myself. PV stays 9. Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
And to round out what is somehow only a warm-up, we have Mission 7, which is another key drop level. Except this time you have to catch 2 keys in midair, and both of these would be the key to unlocking a sadness I never thought I had in me. So these levels all had their fair share of difficulty, but despite that, none of them were quite at that starter tier level. Why is that exactly? Well, it's because in order to be a starting level on the second hardest world in the game, it would have to look a lot more like this.
Oh, wow. Okay, gotta go all the way over there. Got it. All right. Well, that was fun while it lasted. Oh my god. Okay, not dying helps. Thank you. I will make sure to put that into my little bag of tricks here.
Mission 8 is the beginning of some of the more frustrating levels I encountered in this world. This one is an auto-scroller that requires you to be ready the moment the level loads up and have perfect movement throughout your descent, with saws, once again, literally everywhere the eye can see.
Oh my god, that timing sucks so much ass.
This level took me forever to learn how to do without dying a few times beforehand, and I would still constantly lose runs to it after, forcing me to load up knockoff SawCon again to do it all over and over and over. And if you don't know what SawCon is, you should ask in the comments. I'm sure a nice fellow will kindly reply and let you know. And with Mission 9, things really only got worse. It's nowhere near as mechanically demanding as 8, but now you have to deal with some of the most brilliant tacticians in the Rapture army. Because whenever these meat guys ran at me randomly without knowing what the hell they were doing, then how the fuck was I supposed to know?
Okay, please don't separate. You fucking bitch. What? Wait, I couldn't even do anything. His gravity was too immense.
You know what? I'm actually gonna rant a bit more about 9 because it might rank even higher than the piss level with how annoying it was to me. It was constantly gaslighting me on how to plan for it when it's literally just luck whether or not the AI works apparently. They'd move when they weren't supposed to.
Yeah, I can juke this guy. I guarantee it. I'm the best. This is the worst level of all time.
Not move when they were supposed to.
Oh, I got both of them. Nice. Actually good. That's fucked up. He was blocking it. I couldn't do anything.
And who the hell thought it was a good idea to install a missile turret right at the start?
So what's 9? Ah, yeah. The moment I unpause this game, I'm dead, by the way. I just want to point that out. This is the rest of stream? Yeah, probably. Yep, there we go.
So I truly hated this level with every fiber of my being. But there was a bright side to this, and that's the existence of the following missions. Missions 10 through 12 are levels that are made much kinder with a few tricks you can do, like jumping into the key mechanism in 10, going above the mountain in 11, and even mission 14 was easier once I found out I could scale the giant cliff rather than having to backtrack for another key. 13, on the other hand, was honestly a shit show whenever I got there, even during the times I actually won.
Dude, what am I doing? I'm psyching myself out right now. Oh my god. How am I clutching this? This should not be possible. Let's go!
But it was nice having a bit of a palate cleanser after trying the exploding meat 9 times in a row. Especially since after this, we move on to what is quite possibly the hardest 6 mission stretch in the game.
Oh my god. That's... What? Come on, dude. That's so stupid. It literally changed directions twice. Fuck you.
When I say 6 mission stretch, I don't mean the 6 most challenging missions in the game. Trust me, it gets worse. But it is 6 levels back to back that refuse to ever take their foot off the gas. For 16, you have to climb this saw tower by jumping in rhythm and landing one of the game's trickiest jumps at the end of it. Whereas for 20, you have this entire meat Spartan race laid out in front of you where the only 300 I got to see were my 300 corpses flinging themselves to their deaths in the replay.
I hate this game.
Then there was 19, which is mainly bad because of all the meat-seeking saws, and we also have 17, the big missile level. I'm sure we're all now pretty aware of what happens here.
I'm so locked in. Okay. What can I say, dude? I'm hot, and it's a heat-seeking missile. There's not much I can do unless I turn off my face cam.
But the 2 most punishing levels are 15 and 18. 18 is a mission that looks hard, then when you play it for a bit, realize it's still hard. And 15 is another level where you're under time pressure to make jumps from a perfect position. Both of these levels ended up being 50-50-50 for me. A 50% chance I'd make it, a 50% chance I'd fail, and a 50% chance I'd fail really badly.
It's a good old 15-18 nightmare blunt rotation. Yep.
These 6 levels were where I spent most of my time with Dark Rapture. It felt like no matter how much I practiced, the muscle memory refused to stick in my mind. And I'd end up going hours at a time without getting a permadeath streak higher than a 4 or a 5. I want to say that something changed here, or I came up with a genius idea that solved all my problems. But that's not what ended up happening with this world at all. There literally wasn't anything left for me to do but get better. This is the part of Meat Boy Permadeath where any and all meta tricks you can do to make your life easier will have been expended, and you will still be stuck here for days. And I can tell you from experience, it sucks.
Okay. We have 10 and 12 left. 10 is sketchy. No. I knew that was gonna happen. I didn't time the jump right. That's tough.
But with enough time and determination, you do end up getting good enough. It's a very slow process, and you gotta take the wins where you can.
That was a sketchy jump, but we PB'd! Let's go! PB'd! Let's go! 12! Woo! Holy shit, he just can't stop PBing! I'm playing hella nervous right now, dude. I need to No! What? You can go above? All right, well, that sucks. And I liked it better when I said PB after every level. That was cool. I really liked that.
But that's what Meat Boy is now, grinding until you're good enough. And even when the levels might not be the cleanest, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you can still pull out the win.
I hate this level and doing it late because my heart's beating really fast and the white background starts shaking way more than the red background does. So like I'm just trying to play and jump and I see my entire screen just shaking. Good old 13 choke never really hurt anyone other than me and my feelings. Okay, let's take a deep breath. Okay. Fuck. Epic choking coming, dude. Let's go! He's done it! Oh, my neighbors are gonna hate me, but that's okay. I really needed to get that one out. It was worth it. When I got to 18, I told you guys, but my entire screen was shaking, not because the monitor was shaking, because my heartbeat was so fast. It's because I have a big heart, you know? That's kind of what it comes down to. I'm just a very loving person. That's why I keep choking, is because I have so much love for all of you guys. Subscribe, by the way. So with that, all the light worlds and the dark worlds in the main game were complete, with Dark Rapture taking a total time of 16 hours, 6 minutes, and 2 seconds. If you completely ignore the hour part of that statement, that's not too bad. This, however, leads us into the last 2 worlds of the game, Cotton Alley and Dark Cotton Alley, the de facto hardest light and dark worlds that Super Meat Boy has to offer. And that's because 10 worlds deep into what has been an almost 50-hour experience thus far, this game has one more twist. You now play as Bandage Girl, and only Bandage Girl. That's right, in both versions of Cotton Alley, changing characters is completely disabled. No more double jumping, no more smaller hitboxes, just pure, hard-working, pink-collar girl power. Never in Meat Boy's history has there been a more appropriate time to say, "Slay, Queen." But just make sure not to say it anywhere near the missiles, because they seem to take that phrase a little too literally. What the fuck? Okay, come on, like, surely. When it comes to playstyle though, Bandage Girl is basically like Meat Boy in every single way. She manages to be both fast while also being nice and maneuverable while jumping over obstacles. The only real difference between them is that while Meat Boy leaves a trail of meat behind him, Bandage Girl leaves a trail of bandage juice. No, I don't want to know what that is. Please don't tell me. But otherwise, Bandage Girl plays exactly the same as Meat Boy, and as a consequence of that, dies exactly the same as well. What? Wait, why'd I slide off? Hello? All right, the practice did not pay off. Actually, I'm now in a lot of practice debt. I'm gonna go bankrupt. What? Okay, well, yeah, I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that saw might be faster than me. Oh. What? What the fuck are you talking about? The Snamwiches' mind just cannot comprehend missiles. This is crazy. He's an aerospace engineer. I almost got a job at fucking Lockheed Martin. Probably why I didn't get the job, actually. Thinking back to it, hold on, wait a second. In fact, Cotton Alley caused me to die so much that it became my wake-up call in regards to how much I'd relied on the other characters to this point. Take missions 19 and 20, for example. These levels would be perfect for Ogmo, since I could make use of his smaller hitbox and extra jump to clear the saws here with ease. But with Bandage Girl, that extra safety net no longer exists, which would usually result in me either being too cautious. Oh. You know, technically, if I wait here, the game could theoretically glitch out for being on for too long, and I could phase through this block, maybe. And technically, I wouldn't have died yet. Thoughts? Or alternatively, way too aggressive. Okay, well, we're gonna pretend that never happened. I guess I'll go back to 20. I don't know, man. I guess I'll go back to 19 too. That's fine. Maybe I just talk to the saws like they're people. Maybe they've been treated like objects for all their lives and they're just not okay with it. Excuse me, sir. Pardon me? Okay, well, that guy fucking sucks. That guy would be a criminal if he was alive.
When Snam clears the level, I say yes. When he dive bombs directly into the saw, I say, well, also yes.
I don't think you could sum up this stream in fewer, more concise wording than that, so thank you. Or maybe let's take a look at mission 15. The kid would have been a godsend for dodging all the Boruses if I got caught in a bad spot midair, but Bandage Girl apparently took him out back and shot him. And this level felt like it personally took on the task of avenging it. Oh my god, I'm alive. What the fuck? What? Okay. Well, not alive. That was a scream of primal terror, by the way. I just want to let you know. Or how about mission 3? A different character wouldn't actually help here, but playing a Splunky might make it look a lot less scary. No, yeah, it looks just as bad, actually. Fuck. Feels like hugging the first wall of save. Yeah, you know, you're right. Actually, so true. Maybe we just stay here and hope Meat Boy comes to us. Genuinely, almost every level felt like it would have been way easier with another character. 9, 4, 14, 16, 7 especially. Okay. I say okay like I discovered something on that attempt, but I really didn't. I was really lucky, and I'm probably gonna die 10 more times before I get another win like that. But hey, 20 was just long, 15 I found a method for eventually, 7 I got a feel for, and 17 was fine. After 50 attempts of figuring out what the hell was going on. I don't even know how to comprehend this mission. What the fuck is happening? But mentally, I knew I'd already taken on harder missions than anything like Cotton Alley could throw at me. And I was totally right. It had nowhere near the peaks of the harder Dark Worlds that I'd just finished, despite the character handicap. And because of that, I managed to complete Light Cotton Alley way faster than Dark Rapture. But that being said, it still took 11 hours, 34 minutes, and 14 seconds. So true, but not great. Let's fucking go! Oh, we're done! Oh my god, my heart was a thumping, dude. Oh, we only have one more fucking world to permadeath. Holy shit, it's actually happening. But there is a reason why I didn't touch on this world nearly as long as some of the others. Because now it's time to tackle the world that's worse in every single way. This world is the pinnacle of Super Meat Boy. Almost every level here would be one of the hardest, most disgustingly brutal ones in any of the other worlds. And anything you might have struggled on during the rest of the game is here, and probably even worse than you remember. Hey, what's the difficulty here exactly? Doesn't seem too bad compared to that. Uh-oh. Okay, well, never mind. But this was it. This was what every other world had been leading up to, the hardest one. And over the course of my 60 hours of preparation, I had learned a lot. I knew level sequencing, bounce pressure, speed gauging, projectile manipulation, quantum wall bouncing. Half of these things probably don't even exist, but they sound cool. All of this I now had to do while using a character I'd just spent the last 11 hours playing non-stop. So I was already as ready as I could ever be, and Dark Cotton Alley still absolutely destroyed me. Because of losing. Meet me at 100. What just happens? All right, well, maybe that's like my good luck shot. Okay, never mind. It's not. It was an omen. That's what that was. It was a piece of shit trying to throw me off my game, and it worked. So far, every world has had some sort of lesson, from learning new obstacles to more mental things like tightening up mechanics and controlling your nerves. But this world's lesson was that nothing short of flawless gameplay was gonna let you reach the finish line. Mission 1, one of the easiest levels if you can call it that, has a wall bounce that takes ages to learn. Missions 2 and 3 require a perfect rhythm, something that had been the bane of my existence near the end of every permadeath run. Mission 4 is actually really easy. I don't know how it got in here, honestly. And missions 5 and 6 require either amazing adaptation or a super rigid set of jumps where one mistake means that your run is over. And that's not even getting to the hard stuff yet. I did 3 levels. 3 levels, 15 minutes. We're fucked. Yeah. All right, well. A fan could suddenly turn flaccid in 7. Landing between the sludge monsters could be slightly off in 8. All these levels like 10, 11, 12, and especially the double conveyor launches in 9 had something where if you messed up just a little bit, you were done. And if you messed up a lot of bit, you were still done, but at least it was way funnier. Oh, I don't know where I'm going. Too far. I'm not gonna lie, I was just hoping for the best. But as per usual, this world saved its worst levels for last. In 13, you have to be precise while running from a tsunami of white liquid. 15 has Boris's again that always found the perfect G-spot to screw me over. And I think the sexual innuendo for 16 is pretty self-explanatory. You're beating your meat, never neglect the balls. All I'm saying. But then there's also 17, where you have to see the Matrix to get through it. And 19, which is on a timer and has the most ass final jump sequence of the whole game. And 20, which is also on a timer and lasts as long as, well, it's only a minute, but that's longer than some people. And 18, which is my sleeper pick for the worst level because these stupid meatballs would turn into a Hall of Fame NFL defense every time I played it. What do you mean? Holy shit, they have Cam Chancellor as their safety in the backfield, bro. There's nothing I could do. Got Legion of Booms. But that being said, none of the 19 missions that I just listed come anywhere close to the level that is the real worst level in the game. And that level, without a doubt, is Mission 14. What? God damn it. It did the fucking thing again. If there is a single level that encapsulates why permadeathing this world is so unachievably hard, it would be this one. It had incredibly tight timings for every single platform. I'm in a flash state right now, not gonna lie. We need to boost it again. Okay, well, that's not gonna help.
Capitalized on my inability to quit to the map or change any characters.
Please! That's fucked up. What an angle. How? I don't even think you can do that.
And had some of the grossest 59 FPS bullshit I've seen thus far.
What? Wait, what happened to me? Brother, where the fuck was the light? Did it go through the goddamn block?
This level was truly the full experience, and it took me back to 0 out of 20 more times than I can count. Actually, that's not true. I did count. It was 789, but that's not to discredit the other levels, which accounted for another 3,200. So I was stuck in this world for multiple days, scraping at any semblance of progress to keep my morale up, because in this world, if you're not on your A game, there really isn't much to be had.
Finally caught stream. Hello, Cakes. How's it going? We are busy malding. So sorry if I don't talk too much. No worries. We all mauled some days. Thank you. Thank you. My mauled is just a silent mauled where I'm like, darn, I should really get this. I just silently brood. I also laugh nervously. Welcome to stream. Good first impression, streamer. Oh my god.
It took me 5 hours to finally put together 4 levels in a row, 10 hours for 6, and by 16 hours, which was the time it had taken me to beat the other hardest world in the game, I could only get 12.
All right, friends. That's 3 in a row. This is officially the last one of the stream. You know what? Come here. Get closer. We're doing this shit right here, right now. Okay? Put all your money on black. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fantastic stream. I really, really appreciate everyone being here.
And from then on, my progress completely flatlined. Hours went by with absolutely no improvement whatsoever. I was learning some things about the levels, but even with the most optimal methods, nothing was getting me any further. The only levels I felt confident in were 3, 4, and kinda 7, because there's an amazing trick where if you're in a pixel perfect position, you can jump and get launched straight to the top. But it was also something that I was only able to get about 50% of the time without speed running into a saw. So hours went by with no luck. Every level was chokeable and difficult. The order didn't matter. Practice didn't matter. I'd be 1 frame off and it was back to the beginning. Nothing worked. However, the challenge was already over. Despite not getting anywhere close for 20 hours now, I believed with my whole heart that it was only a matter of time. Call it probability or sunk cost or a gambling problem or just straight up masochism, but I was able to beat every level once without dying, so why couldn't I eventually string them all together?
Yeah, fuck you. Sorry. Fuck you. There we go. Just have to keep it classy, you know?
You don't lose if you don't give up. And please do not apply this advice to everything. That's how you get a restraining order. But in the case of hard challenges, I truly believe anyone can do this if they have the drive and willingness to put up with the wheel of shit that this game throws at you. And at the end of the day, it really all comes down to practice, time, and luck. So I started another run, fully intending to go for another 20 hours if need be, and then beat 16, 17, 19, 20, some of the hardest levels the world had to offer. Then 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which gave me a new PB. Then 13, 14, 15, 18. Every level I consistently died on was done, which then led to 3, 4, and within just 10 minutes, I had 1 level left to go. The practice was there. The time had finally given me the probability of getting a run this far. All I needed now was the luck. So what better way to end it than a literal coin flip?
Either I hit a saw immediately or we claim victory. Or neither. Okay, never mind. That was anticlimactic. Golly. Holy. Oh, this is really sketch. Are you kidding me? I knew this was gonna be stressful. Didn't realize it was gonna be this stressful. Man. Man, I just want to be safe. We fucking did it! Oh my god, my ass was so puckered, dude. Oh, my head hurts. We're done with Meat Boy forever. Well, not forever. That's the second game. I'm not doing that one. But we're done with the first one forever. Would have strangled you if you lost? I would have strangled myself. I mean, I don't know. I'm the masochist. I might like that. But, oh, you know what we need to do? We need to see how many times I died. I really hope it was under 20K. It's like they say, hard times create hard men. And after beating my meat for 80 hours at this point, I was super hard. But you know what else I was? A man who had just beaten the last Meat Boy permadeath in 20 hours, 24 minutes, and 33 seconds. However, there might be a concern that some of you may have. I stated very clearly at the beginning that I wanted to prove that I was an even dumber masochist than any of the PlayStation or even Steam players that have done this before. And that begs the question, was not being able to quit out to the map really hard enough to grant myself that title? And you know what? That's completely fair. Maybe not, but I'd like to pose a question in response. Why is it that I haven't shown an achievement pop this entire video? Oh, I wonder. Why is it that the achievement man didn't show the purpose of the video? Perhaps it's because there are no achievements. You see, my friends, I'm playing on the 360 version of the game, the one and only port that doesn't have the permadeath achievements. I just spent the last 80 hours of my life grinding, crying, sweating up and down, not for any reward, but to prove a point. I did this for fun. So try telling me now that I'm less deranged than these fools posing as gaming masochists. Try telling me. Oh, yeah, you should like and subscribe, by the way. It really helps the video out and will motivate me to get this Wolfenstein 2 thing done. Thank you.